How's it going, everybody? This
Not
is
too bad,
what?
man. How you doing?
Good, buddy.
Not bad, not bad. We're here with. This is going to be actually our first episode for the new season of the Stone Disclosure, so it's going to be actually be pretty sick. And seeing that Father's Day is what, 3 days, 4 days? You know, the day where we get underwear and socks after we've treated.
Not this year, man. I've been making sure not to let them know not again. Not again.
My drawer is packed right now. I don't even have everything here.
No. There was one year I had asked for a nice t-shirt because we were going out for dinner. They bought me a gray t-shirt with a moose on it. And like actually handed it to me like I was supposed to be like, yay, oh great. I'm like, what were you guys thinking? Of all the animals. He's like, oh, but it's Canadian. I'm like, come on, man.
Idiot.
So yeah, I made sure to let them know, don't do that shit again. Nah, I took care of everybody this. Can't forget about daddy.
Oh, I feel you, man. All right, we're gonna jump into a quick intro. Everybody knows who I am who watches this thing. But give us your names, quick description about yourself. Let's go with the top screen, the brother with the grays.
Hey, I'm Tim. I got one son, 12, pushing puberty right now. That shit's hard. Um, I'm also a leather crafter. You can check me out on Instagram, tack leather goods. That's pretty much it.
All right. I'm Aiden. I got 7-year-old son. He's got the attitude like he's going into puberty at least.
Oh, it starts. It starts early.
My thing forward, he's got that attitude, so
Enjoy that. Enjoy four.
can't.
Enjoy four. It doesn't get any easier, man.
All right, so I believe Tim, Aiden, you're a single dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be us kind of representing for that side.
All right.
Give us the breakdown on the other half.
No problem.
All right, so we're kind of all lucky. We all have boys. Do any of you guys want to have a daughter, or is that something that like doesn't interest you at all?
I did. I gotta admit, I really did. After having a son, I was just like, next, if I have another kid, it would be a girl. But at this point, I'm kind of signed off with kids. I don't think I'll be trying for another one. And his mom agrees, so I mean, I don't think there's gonna be a fight about that or anything like that.
Oh,
So
perfect then. That.
yeah.
What about you, Aiden?
Uh, it's one of those questionable things, you know? I wouldn't mind one of each, but there's those things that run in your back of your head, you know?
Scary.
Like you see
Scary
those
to have
those movies where the old man sitting on the front porch with the shotgun,
Scary.
you know what I mean?
Scary to have a girl.
So safe to
Cannot be weak and have a girl at all.
safe to say, if any of us had a daughter, we'd be getting our gun license at the same time.
Easy. Oh yeah, no problem with that. I'll be the bad guy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That scene from Bad Boys.
Exactly.
All
Don't
right. So,
mind my phone dropping. I don't really have a stand or anything right now.
oh, that's fine, man. All right. So when you guys like actually like had your children, like baby just came out, just saw them for the first time. I know for me, like I had like every fear under the sun. I thought the stork would have came and grabbed him and left. Like that's how messed. And especially since like his mom had like a C-section and I had to like watch it, like him being
That's
pulled
rough.
out.
That's rough.
It
That's
was.
rough.
I was terrified. I don't know if you guys had any, did you have any like fears and stuff like being a father, especially in those like early days?
For me, it was like I was excited to be a father. Like once I found that I was going to be a father, it was just like, oh, let's go, let's do this. And then he came on my birthday too. So me and him have the exact same birthday, and that was like a special thing. That was like a gift for me. So when he came, yeah, I was afraid, but like I grew up around my nieces and all my nephews and whatnot, so like, I had experience changing the diapers and feeding and all that stuff. So that part didn't scare me, but the birthing, that's not fun. That is not fun to watch. People say it's a beautiful experience. Until that baby comes out, it is not a beautiful experience. I've told my wife this. It is not. It's horrible. You're watching your wife cry and she's in pain. And I was messed up at that point because it was just like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, at this point, I am just the guy holding your hand. So anything I said was bad. Anything I did was bad. It was just like, stay out of her way, but still be there. So the birthing was scary, but I don't think I was too scared of having a child. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
What about you, eh?
Well, I was excited at first, you know, and then closer that it got, nerves started kicking in, and honestly, probably the day before and that day that he was born, I survived just on coffee. Point where we got in the delivery room, and the nurse turned around and said, "You know what? You're not ready for this. Your face is ashy gray. If you collapse, I'm stepping over you. So you better beat it."
Yeah, not the important
So
one.
honestly, I'm happy that she at least had her mom in the room with her, because nurse was like, "Nah, you're not ready for this."
Yeah, it's a scary moment. I wish I had a parent there. I was just me and her for like the majority of it. Everybody showed up after the birth came, but at that point, I wanted them all gone. All gone. Like there was a point I actually picked my kid up and we went for a walk down the hall because I'm like, nah, this is my time now. The mom was asleep. It was just her mom, and I think her sister, her aunt, or something like that. And I wanted all of them gone. I'm like, you guys don't even belong here right now. Get out. But I mean, being the second guy in the room now at that point, yeah, there was nothing I could say. Picked them up, walked out the room. Couldn't deal with all those people there. I wanted it to be as small as possible. But yeah, they didn't listen to me.
With me, it was her mom and her sister, and I was cool having them there. But then I'm like, all the hard shit was me. The surgical stuff was me. Some of the decisions that had to be made was like me. Just like the dealing with the process, and like she didn't want to get the epidural at first, so she had to be induced, and it was like that whole process of just like seeing them like writhing in pain. I'm like, I all that. Y'all just got baby at the end and take photos for
They're
Instagram.
there to celebrate. Yeah.
I actually fell asleep with him first because she just had the sutures put in, and like they're like kind of limit your movement, baby, right? So I don't know if you guys ever sat in those chairs at the hospital that can
Not
like
comfortable.
it's the most uncomfortable thing ever. It's wood, and that's
I
it.
swear to God, they did that on purpose.
Wood with like a piece of leather, and I had him like my chest. I have a picture of it too. I have him on my chest, and he's like the smallest little thing. And I stayed in that chair in that position for like 10 hours straight. When
you got to stay.
up,
I didn't get to stay.
in the hospital because of how bad my back was just not cooperating with me. And then she took him after, and she's like, "Oh, he's so precious." I'm like, I just died. Hey,
Hey, sorry, man. I've been I've been messing up with my my password.
no, that's fine. Don't worry about
it. Yeah.
We got a rival. Just give a quick introduction. How many kids you have?
Okay, so I have a daughter and a son. My daughter is 4. My son is turning 2 July 1st.
All right, perfect. This guy's Dave. I've known this guy since 3rd grade. If
roughly.
roughly,
So our entire life. Yeah, pretty much.
If that
No, it's not Uncle Joe.
to hey mama,
Yes, that's Uncle Officer. Say hi, Uncle Officer.
hey lady.
Yeah. Yeah, she was like, Daddy, I want to come with you. I'm like, no. So, but yeah, can't argue with a lady.
Oh, of course not.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
since you have both,
Yeah.
you're raising a daughter or a son?
What's more difficult?
Yeah.
I'm thinking both of them have their own challenges. But because my daughter is older and my son is younger, my son wants to do everything that my daughter is doing. So that's basically what, like, that's pretty much his platform. Everything that she's doing, he wants to do. So and sometimes it's like when I pick her up, he wants to get picked up at the exact same time. And it's kind of difficult sometimes because they're both the same weight. So one arm has 40 pounds, the other one has 40 pounds. That's it takes sacrifice, doesn't it?
Well, it's got to be strong.
Yeah.
He doesn't even go to the gym, so I don't know how he does it. I
Kids.
have no idea.
Who needs
Exactly,
a gym?
man.
You got two of them.
When it to like kids, I know everybody has like a method. Is it like
Sorry, you're cutting out.
no?
Yeah.
Everybody has, like their own like ideas and methodology. I'm not huge on like beating kids. That's like they ask for it, but that's like last resort type of thing. I'm
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because once you take that, that's a different child. So for the work,
I grew up getting beat. That was the way to punish me was beat. And I mean, it was. I would never say abusive, but it was. My dad had a heavy hand. He grew up that way. He brought me up that way, and I refuse to do it to myself. But in certain situations where it's like, I know you hear me, but it's like your hand starts to twitch. Where it's like, I don't know what to say to you, and it's like, I want to, but it's like, I got to remind myself, it wasn't that kept me straight. Like, it wasn't, I was actually afraid of my dad at one point because it was just like, I don't know how to be comfortable around you and just be a kid. I can crack a joke. I know sometimes he's not going to take it as a joke. My mom might take it as a joke, but he might hear it differently. So like that, I don't want that. That is like a big fear of me is to grow up and grow apart from my kid. Like I see it on TV, I hear about it, and it's like, I don't care what's going on. If I got to change, I'm going to change. If I got to adapt so we can keep the lines of communication open, I will do pretty much anything to get to that point. Because not having my kid close to me is not an option. It cannot be an option. And I refuse to say I'm going to beat my kid. I mean, if he gets to a point where he's older and just totally disrespectful, I mean, you stole something or you something where it's just like, you knew better, man. There's nothing else I could have told you. You just chose bad. Maybe, but even then, I mean, it's got to be intense for me to say I'm actually going to actually hit my child.
I find that when let's say your child has disappointed you, like I feel that you need to voice that because that would actually make them understand that
100%.
Yeah, because like be like, what you did right there, like for example, it's like what you did right there, like you really disappointed me. And not only disappointed me, it makes me sad on the inside, and then kind of just explain that this isn't the right thing to do, right? And you need to be like this, that, and the other, and just be like, okay, you need to know this just so you don't get yourself in trouble in the future, right? Like once you become an adult, everything changes. Like
Definitely.
once you're like 16, just borderline 17 years old, and you get, let's say, arrested for stupidness, it's a slap on the wrist,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
then what? Yeah, and then it's so much harder for other ethnicities just because of how the system works,
Mhm.
you know.
100%.
So yeah, so it's like you have to teach them at a young age to be like, look, like, be careful what you do, what you say, because not everyone's going to take it the way that you think is right, or the way that you think is funny, or like everyone has a different perception on what's right and wrong. So
Especially in the world we're living today.
Yeah.
yeah, like you can't even say anything without being like, oh, it's very sensitive for me. Like it's like it's actually quite frustrating how it's like you can't say anything without it being offensive to somebody,
Yeah.
and then like the most that you can do is like, you know what, I don't care about your sensitivity, I'm being real to myself towards you,
Hmm.
and if you're going to take it this way, then I don't want to be around you,
Mm.
right? Because why should I feel bad or feel attacked just for speaking my mind?
Mm.
I agree 100% with that.
Yep.
Like when it comes to situations like that for me, like I look at it as I am dealing with my son in my home. To hell with what you think.
Yep.
I am not a bad person. I'm not trying to raise my son to be a bad person, and I'm going to give him my point of view. I am his father. I am
Mhm.
going to give him my point of view. I'm not going to be rude about it. I'm not going to try to hurt anybody else. And I also got to realize he's going out into a world that I didn't grow up in.
Mm.
But still, this is how I feel. He's not going to be surprised about anything. I'm not going to be PC about anything. My son knows me, but he also knows that outside, it's a different world. Just because your father's this way doesn't mean that you can just walk around and be like, blah, blah, blah to everybody else and expect them to take it. When it comes to that kind of stuff, he might be a little bit more mature than me.
Mm.
Because certain topics come up at home, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got a person in my class that's like this, that does this. Oh, they were talking to me about they, them, he, her," and I'm like, "Oh shit, explain this to me because I don't know it." Back when I growing up, they wasn't a thing you could call somebody. Like that was offensive. Like you're not. That doesn't make any sense. But it's a new world. So when my son comes and tells me something, I listen, blah blah blah. I give him my point of view,
Mm.
but I don't really necessarily try to change him or like bring him over to my side kind of thing. It's just like, yeah, this is who I am. This is why I think this way. Outside, operate properly.
Mm.
Respect people. Like if this person hasn't done nothing to you, whatever they are, whoever they want to be, that's them. Doesn't affect you. Just be nice. Be a good person.
Mm.
But inside the home, I'm telling you how I feel about certain topics. When it comes to race, when it comes to sexuality and blah, 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 I tell him how I feel and
Mm.
I let him go and do his own thing. I cannot be worried how other parents look at me because we are all different. Everybody on the screen right now is going to treat their kid a little differently. But we just kind of, you got to respect that. As long as I trust you not to raise your son to be a bad person, I respect you not to train your son and daughter to be bad people. And like you got to accept that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not gonna agree with everything, but I still have my opinions that are my opinion.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm gonna share that with my son.
That's it, right? It's that transfer of like knowledge, but then you give them the ability to kind of do with it what they want.
Yeah,
Which I don't feel like personally, like me growing up, I never really had that. I came from like a single parent home, so it was
okay.
like my mom had her way of doing things, and that was it. Like there was no other type of influence. So I had to go and like find male influences.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of able to like form myself a certain way, where it's like I know some people like you grew up kind of like under your parents, so you start to take in their traits a bit. And you don't even
Mm-hmm.
realize.
Oh yeah.
Like, my mom was big for like if you stepped out of line, you got the belt. It just what Dave got beat too. So my friends
Yeah.
that way. So
Well, because like his mom actually treated me like her other son.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And just because like I'm over like every other week or something, just to hang out and family parties and to help him out with like work stuff, and just try to be helpful and just to be respectful and just do what you can, like we're all the same. We may look different, we may feel certain way at certain times, but you know what, once once we're on that same wavelength, that same page, then all is good.
Nice. So, you guys ever remember your parents saying like, "Oh, you'll understand when you become a parent"?
Yeah.
Do you
Very
understand?
true.
Oh
Very
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Very
And
true.
what aspects do you understand?
Here's a question that I have. Like, have you ever said things that kind of remind you of what your parents would have said to you?
All the
All the
time.
time.
Hundred
All the
Yeah.
percent.
time. All the
Yeah.
time. And I'd be like, shit. I always told myself I wouldn't say this.
Yep.
I always said almost like kind of just blows out of your mouth,
Yeah.
and you're like,
You
damn,
don't even realize.
I'm my parent. I'm my parent now.
Yeah.
But you get why they did it, because it's just like
Yeah.
shit. This came so easy out of my mouth. It's just like I can hear my parents in the back of my head, like,
Yep.
yeah, you
Mhm.
understand now.
You say it in your head. It's in their voice, and you can imagine the words coming out of their mouth. It's crazy. Oh, if you don't hear, you're gonna feel. And
Oh
that's what.
yeah,
Now,
that's the one I say all the time,
and
all
then
the time.
in high school, and I started to see it a little bit. Then I became an adult. I started to see it a little bit more. And then like I catch myself saying it to my son, because
Mhm.
like they'll just do some wild like climb the counter and jump.
Exactly.
I'm like, yeah, you're gonna feel, and then he
It's
hits
the
the ground.
greatest teacher. I
But
usually want my son for like everything, because like right now he's hoodie 24/7.
mm,
Like thick hoodie up. Like this is all I see of my son every day, all day. 30 degrees outside, he's wearing a hoodie. I'm like, buddy,
How
you're going to learn that this is not a good thing. I'm like,
how
you're
how
getting to
old's
the
your
point
son?
where you're talking to girls and stuff. I'm like, buddy, I can smell you. I'm telling you nice, but you're gonna meet a girl that's gonna say the same thing, and she's gonna tear your heart out. And I can't wait for that day, because that shit's gonna make you grow up. It's gonna change you. You're gonna be like, oh fuck, that hurt. Like that actually hurt. And we all know girls can push that button better than anybody.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
So like I tell them all the time, like, buddy, one day, some girl's gonna tell you some shit, and you're gonna be like, oh, maybe I should have listened to my dad. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy that day. It sounds mean, but sometimes, man, this kid is just doesn't listen.
You gotta have that conversation in a hoodie. That would be perfect.
Or wet, yeah. I don't know how he does it, but he says he's never hot. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Could I ask you how old's your son now?
12.
12. You know
Yeah.
what? I've learned from somewhere the best weapon that you have as a parent is to embarrass them.
Yep.
Once you embarrass them, that
Yep.
ruins their entire image, and then they'll have no choice but to be like, okay, you know what? He was right. You know?
Yeah.
I noticed that the most. It was in grade 10. I got in trouble. I got suspended. And then they called the house. And like, you're savvy, so you put like your cell phone number as a house. But then I didn't realize they send a letter as well.
Oh
So
shit.
I got a phone call. Mom got the letter, and then she had to come in and like speak to them in the office. My mom came in looking wild. My mom legitimately had the rollers in their hair. It looked like a night
That's when you know you're in
club,
trouble.
son. In July. and strolled into that office, and all of my friends are.
Yeah,
I don't
she came
remember,
to embarrass you.
but I remember that for the rest of my life. That traumatized me. Like that was heavy. It took me a while to get over that one, and it was always the threat now of her. She'd be like, "Oh, don't make me come to the school," and like
She
that's
knew what she was doing. You got it. Are you ready to pull something like that if your son acts up?
100%. I'm rolling in
Yeah,
looking like I'm so
crazy.
active with the Jerry curl. I don't care. I'm waiting to step up one time.
Yeah, it's
A hat too.
it is weird to think about. Like my son is 2, turning 2, and it's like I have to think about that. What am I going to do to, like, once that situation comes,
Mm.
like what would be the best way to go about it? But it's one of those things where you don't know until it happens,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to
So,
adapt.
yeah. And then who knows what might happen? It's like, because of these online schools and everything too, right? It's not the same uh, doing FaceTime with the kid's teacher
Mm.
and seeing them in person. You
Hundred
know,
percent.
once you have them in the same room with their teacher, you can actually see them sink in their chair a little. You know, you see is like, oh, I know I did something wrong. Quiver a
Like,
little bit. Yeah. And that's when you know, okay, like what's worse than quivering in front of your parents, in front of your teacher?
Mm.
Little bit embarrassment, and
you're hoping
then
all the stuff doesn't come out.
yeah,
Like, talk about the schoolwork. Don't talk about that other thing that I did in class the other day. That's what you're praying for.
dude, I used to hide my report card from my parents. Like they used to give you the report card
Mhm.
at the school, and then for you to take it home to present to your mom and dad.
Yep,
Then you,
get it
I,
signed and bring it
you
back.
know, I, my parents never opened any envelope. I hid it in my closet and buried it. You know, because I knew that, what, my grades weren't the best, but like they were slightly average, but I still felt that it wasn't good enough.
Mm.
To me, it wasn't good enough, and that made me that I was trying to hide the whole thing of that talk, and then the um like it was mainly the talk. My parents never beat me,
Mm.
but it's I knew when they were disappointed, and that upset me more than if they ever beat me.
Mm.
Yeah.
A lot of parents don't realize that. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
that word, "I'm disappointed in you,"
yeah,
is a
I'm not
lot.
mad. I'm
yeah,
just disappointed.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
a
Hey,
lot
right
because you're
there.
like, it's
You don't
levels to it. When you say you're disappointed in your child,
know.
because I mean, for most parents, it takes a lot for them to get disappointed in their
Yeah.
child. So once that comes out, oh boy, you messed up.
yeah, yeah. And then it's like now I have to make it up somehow,
Yeah.
but you don't know how, because you're like what, 12, 13, 14 years old. It's like I'm gonna clean my room. I'm gonna do dishes, take out the trash, you know.
You walk by like,
But
Mom, you still love me. Yes.
you
Okay.
know,
Oh.
my mom would have been like, I don't know. Did you take out? Did you clean up after the dog? No, but discipline is changing.
Yeah.
I find.
I find it funny because it's like you see that like generational shift between like what your parents did and like what we do now, but there's still so many similarities. Like I caught myself the other day. I can't remember what he was. I think he was throwing blocks. Like my son he's very good at like physical shit. Like he
Mm.
can like 4 blocks in the same area. Like they'll hit each other. If he plays baseball, I am set for life. So I'm hoping that. Yeah. But like I remember like we are building something with like the blocks, and like he doesn't play with toys conventionally. So if I'm building this tower, he's gonna go kick it over because that's not what we're doing today. And that's just how he is. So I remember like he kicked it over and I was just like why? Like I was so
Mhm.
I took time to do it, but like I didn't realize like my expectation for him to understand that was so high. And then it made me think of like how Dave was saying with the report card. My marks were pretty good, but I know if I go home with like a 87, it's gonna be like, well, why didn't you get 100? And it just would never be like realistic. So I
Yeah.
remember at the situation, and I'm like, all right, let me give him something else to do. So then I built the blocks, and I was trying to tell him to like throw like the block to knock the other blocks over, just to see how good his accuracy was, and he kept missing. And I'm sitting there like, bro, you just do 4 in a row that hit each other, and you can't hit this. Like, but then like looking back, I was like, I think that was just kind of like what I had to deal with from my mom, but like as I was projecting it in such a way, though it's two completely like unrelated events.
Yeah.
That transfer of I don't even know if you could call it. I don't want to call it trauma because it's not really traumatic, but like that transfer of experience.
Yeah.
That just
I mean,
like,
you met a situation, your brain pulled out something that was
mhm.
kind of similar to you, and you're like, okay, well, this is how I dealt with it, or how I've seen people deal with it, and you kind of translated it. But then it's like you got to catch yourself being like,
Yeah.
okay, that wasn't right. That didn't make any sense. You got to be able to do that. But like what all you guys was talking about with school, and do you guys think you'll treat your kid like you said you weren't doing that well in school? Sorry, I don't remember your name,
Dave.
Dave. Um, if your child is showing the same signs, like not getting good marks, well, how would you handle it knowing that you were the same way?
I I think about honesty is the best policy. Sure, I could lie about it, be like, oh yeah, I had great straight A's, no problem, right?
Mhm.
But I'm like, I feel that if I tell him like, look, this is how I was, and this is how this is how I would like you. This is the direction where I want to take you, right?
Mhm.
Like, not the fact is this is what I want for you, is this is where I want to guide you towards,
Yeah.
right? So, because like I find that if I told my son I want you to be this way, they're going to rebel, or they're going to find a way to piss you off, to be like, you know what, I am not like you. I'll never be like you. But the thing is, I don't want him to be like me. I want
Amen.
him to be the I want him to be the best him he can be.
Mhm.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? So I feel like, you know what, just be straight up and honest and be like, look, I wasn't the best in school. Like I used to do this, that, and the other. And I felt bad for doing this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a few options to go through. We could we can do the work together. So you have the help, me helping you, or you can have a tutor, or or if you feel that you can do the effort on your own, that's fine too. But you have to figure out what you want for yourself to to be uh, to be better, or to get better than what is provided on the sheet of paper.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, not like, I know every person in this world have different ways of learning, and it's up to us as parents to figure out what's the best way for my kid to learn.
Mm.
Is it physical? Is it verbal? Is it easier for him to read it, or does he have to do it? You know, I feel like I learn by actually seeing it done and doing it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I like, because like I can I can sit and watch a PowerPoint presentation for 4 hours for an open book thing and still fail
Yes,
because I can't focus like that, you know.
I'm the same way.
So
I rather
yeah,
do this.
yeah.
And on
So
experience, man.
yeah. So I feel like the best way to be like, okay, um, for him to be able to do whatever he needs to do, like talk to me, explain to me, help me understand what I need to do as a parent
Mm.
to help you succeed, right? Because I find sometimes like parents in earlier generations, it's either that you do it or you get the belt, or you do it or you get grounded, but that's not teaching your kid anything. It's just being fearful of your parents,
Yeah.
right?
Spot on. Spot
Yeah,
on.
Yeah.
Same
yeah,
exact experience. Like a lot of
so
time with my parents, it was anger and then nothing. And I try to talk, like I talk to my kid, and it's like, okay, like I'm not happy that you got a bad report card,
Mm.
but I let him know, like, oh, this is us, this is a team. Like,
Mm.
let me know what I need to do to help you. You're not
Mm.
on your own. I got options. We'll do whatever you think is more comfortable for you. Like, we can try one. If that doesn't work, we can try something else. Like, that part is huge. Because when
Mm.
you're just mad, I've seen it. My kid shuts down.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
just that blank stare, and it's just like, so you're not even hearing a word that's coming out of my mouth now. And
Yeah.
like, I catch that, and it's just like, I got to do it differently. Because what's the point of me talking loud if I know he's not listening?
Yeah. And
mm,
So it's like I love the part when you
oh,
said, yeah, I give him options. Like, what can
mm,
we do so I can help you? Because I've been there. I'm at the
yeah,
point where I'm at, and it's probably not going to change much, but I have all the options to give to you.
mm,
If it was like, yeah, like you said, sit down, we'll do this together, we're learning together. Because even some math stuff he brings home, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm lost. Thank God for Google. Because, no, I'm
um,
being totally honest. I know. I told him, like, yo, buddy, we'll figure this thing out together because I don't even know what this says.
yeah.
Plus, he's in
Does
French immersion. So
oh,
I
that
don't
makes it
speak a
harder.
lick of French. So
Me
I mean,
too.
like, I'm pulling out Google Translate, trying to translate the question before I even get to the math problem. So it's like, we'll be there both sweating it out because, I mean, if you fail, I'm going to be mad. I don't want to be mad. Like, I don't like being mad at my kid, whatever. So if
but
we can, like, make a game out of it or do something,
if
I
you're
try all
helping
the options.
and he fails, that means you failed too.
Right?
And if you feel
Can't
stupid,
let that happen. Oh, he would love
and
he
and
would
you know
love to
what?
look at
That's
me like, Daddy, Dad, this was wrong.
and,
You gave
and
me
you
F.
know and that's the thing as parents is like our kids are like a representation of us, you know. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, you know. My kids go to this daycare down the street, and one of the teachers was you're like your kids are so happy and they're so attentive and they get so focused and they're so happy, like whatever you do keep doing it, right? I'm like, really? Oh, okay, right? Well, like what we do really is have them watch educational videos like Cocomelon, Blippi, like something that's involving adventures plus learning, so it's
Mhm.
kind of fun for them, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like I understand like school isn't fun when you get older, and it's something that we're gonna have to try and implement, like not like just try and uh, kind of guide them in a way where learning can be fun, you know.
Yes.
And and uh and yeah, that's how I like this is how I feel towards it, because I hated school. I hated it, right?
Yeah.
Just because it's like I couldn't focus, and my grades, like you could sit in the classroom for like 6 7 hours staring at a teacher, and like they're doing math problems and it looks Chinese to you, right?
I
And
hear you.
it's yeah, and it's like, yeah, you don't, it just doesn't, uh, it just doesn't compute, doesn't connect. And I would like to change that for my kids, but so far everything is looking good, but have to step up once they get older and they need that help, you know?
Yeah.
So
What I like is that we all seem to like have adopted this mentality of like progressive parenting. Now, I remember I saw this video last year. It was just like random, like Indian lady who was like explaining parenting in a certain way. And she was saying that our generation growing up, our parents were very just like, I'm the parent, you're the child. They didn't really listen to the child as to like what the child needs, what the child's going through, like how they
Mm.
improve as being parents, because they figured I'm doing the best that I can and I can't go beyond this. So like for me, I look back and I can't really blame my mom for like, certain things, because I'm like, there's certain things I wish you had taught me. Like there's certain things I wish I knew. I didn't want to go learn it in the street. Like I would have rather and not getting shit. So like it's kind of cool now that we've taken this kind of like stance to where we're like listening to our children, because by doing that you actually become a better parent overall, because now you're understanding what they're going through and you're tackling that directly, so you kind of get to help them out in a completely different way. Like I look at my son and I'm like, bro, you are so lucky. You are so lucky.
I say that one all the time.
Wow.
Different times, man. Different times. Like this right now, like my son isn't the biggest sport person. He's more of I'll watch sports, I'll play video game sports, but my dad never came to my games. Like he came to one, that was it, and like it wasn't a thing. And that's one thing I'm like, yo, if I get a kid that plays sport, every game I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be that annoying dad at the game. Like, whatever. That's my son. Show out, buddy.
Same backseat.
I want that so bad because I never had it. Like I'm ready. Oh, let's go. I'll miss work. I'll do whatever I need to do. I am not
even if he's not even if he's not the best player on the team, you'll still be there. And that's
I don't care.
the best part of parents, you know?
Yo, he could choose ballet. God, he doesn't choose ballet. But like if he did, I'm gonna learn it and I'm gonna cheer him on. But don't be ballet and be the dude in the back. Be the dude that's like whatever, prima that's in front and center. Like be the best ballerina or whatever it's called that you can be. Because I'm gonna go watch. I don't want him to be the guy in the tights in the back. Sorry, I'm being totally honest. If you're gonna do ballet, be the best ballet
thank you so
dancer
much, my dear.
you can be. Like I love basketball, so I'll go watch
show that
basketball
to
no
everybody?
What, but hey, see, man, enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's the happy moments, man.
Yeah. Like
that's what it's Father's Day.
Yeah, my daughter was like, I'm checking up on you and I want to bring the card over to show you and say Happy Father's Day. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Daughter stuff right there, man. Open the door. That's gotta be daughter stuff right there. My son has never done that stuff.
Uh-oh. Here he comes.
He laughed
first. Come my boy. Come here. Come here. Come here. You know what? As a parent, you never get time to yourself. They're a part of me and I'm a part of them, and that's it.
Hey, man, I tell you, enjoy that, because my son at 12 years old, if I walk in the house, I got to wait for him to finish his game first. He even knows that I came into the house. I'm like, yo, I'm home. Hey, hold up. Wait till I'm done. One more game. I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, I'm home. Come. I used to get hugs as soon as I walked through the door. Not anymore. So, buddy, enjoy that. Enjoy the card, because you will miss it. If it happens, you will miss it. I tell him all the time, like, I miss my little man.
You know,
Nice
I get
ball.
I pick them up from daycare every day, and just to see my 2-year-old with his jiggly self just run towards me with a giant smile and give me a big hug, and
That's the
then
best feeling, man.
tells everyone bye, see you tomorrow. But not like that. Not like that. He'll yeah, whoa. I'm like, it's like, you know what? Great sounding out your words, man.
All right.
Like keep at it. Keep at it.
The little things, man.
Yeah. They matter. They matter.
Oh,
It's
more than anything else.
One of the things I love is like my son is very like solo, like do his own shit. He'll like go off and like do his own thing, and then for some reason he's just like, nah, I want affection. So then he'll come back and he'll fling himself on top of you, no matter what you're doing. He doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You could be eating,
Yeah.
you could be fucking disarming a bomb. He does not care. He'll jump on you, and you just sit there and you're looking at him like, all right, this is cool. And then you just hold them. Like
Yeah.
it's those things. Those all things. Like I take him to skip like rocks. We go to this creek. He just like throwing the rocks in the water. That's his thing. He'll do it for it's like a man fishing. He will do it for hours. He has a routine and everything. He will not rock. He'll pick it up, will not throw it. He brings it to me so that I touch it, then he throws it. And it's not less.
I was so really like
Stuff, man.
But it's those small things. It's those small moments that like
raining.
because I don't
Close the window.
and
When
like
it's sunny,
witnessing
open
it.
the window.
Oh,
I didn't hear any of that either.
no, I'm saying it's legit a moment.
It's like as soon as you're about to talk, you cut out.
You know what? I don't really think he is talking. He's doing it on purpose and making us guess. That's all we got.
Yeah.
How does like co-parenting work? Like I know Tim, you're in a relationship. Dave's married.
Mm.
So like your co-parenting is very different from me and like Aiden. So like
Exactly.
I come to like disagreements, or you come to like points where you're trying to like figure out what to do next with your kid.
That's exactly why I've been staying quiet, because it's like I can't really relate to this. Like I seem like every other weekend, you know what I mean?
I had that because I know you have a lot to say.
But
That must be hard.
it can be, but because we can co-parent, I work, I don't know, my shop is like maybe 10 minutes down the street from her house. So after work, I do have that opportunity to be able to stop in, see my kid, say,
That's
"How
good.
was your day at
That's
school?"
good.
Mm.
Like it's
That
never
seems to be a
been.
rare thing that co-parenting actually works out, where everybody's like, "Yeah, I want to come see my kid." Hey, come on.
Yeah. It can work. It can be very stressful at times.
Yeah.
But as long as both of you come to the decision that we have to put our child first over our own issues, we'll say, that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I respect you for that, man. Making that
Yeah,
work. I've seen some stories, and I don't know how people deal with it, how they do it. So I respect you for that.
like here's my question to you. When you and your significant other at the time, were you able to work as a team to, let's say, like kind of like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like if you're slacking, I'm gonna pick up the slack.
Mm.
Like did you have like those types of conversations where it's like this, like this is what I'm gonna do, this is what she's gonna do, and if I need help, I'm gonna step up type thing?
No.
No.
Nope.
There was times where
When it came,
in and help, but for the most part, it's just like you're on your own. You can deal with it. She just flew away on vacation for what, 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and I said, you know what? I'll take him. No worries, no questions asked. I wanted the extra time. I'll deal with everything. Don't you worry. Call him whenever you want while you're over there across seas. You can call over. He'll be there. He'll pick up the phone. No worries. But there's other days where it's just like, bye.
Yeah.
dude, where I found it hard, it was like they had their way of doing it, and you had your way,
Exactly.
the right way. You know,
Oh,
we both got it at the same time. It's like, nope, that's not how I change the diaper. So it's not how you're gonna do it. So now
Well,
you, and I was working, so it's like I'm working 10 hours a day. It's like 3 hours commute because it was like in Newmarket and back.
mm,
I only really got that gap of like 6:30. He goes to bed at 9. So everything you learned in that day, I had to pick up in 3 hours.
yeah.
And it wasn't and be like, hey, how do you do this? It's like, I figured it out. You gotta figure it out too. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm gonna just sit here and do the best that I can. So that's really all it was. If he's alive, that's all that matters at this point.
Better make
as
him.
long as
Make sure he's okay when you send him back.
you're
Not
good.
air out of place, nothing.
But like, it's fun now because we're not, like, together, but our communication with him is better.
Hey, that's all that matters. Right?
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, because I think communication is key all around. So like, even if you're married or you're not married, you need to communicate. You need to make sure that you're all on the same page somewhere. You know, like when it comes to pick up the kids, drop off the kids, like whatever. You know, like and sometimes the person that you were with previously or with now doesn't know how to communicate properly, right? And it sucks when you have to guess what they mean.
See,
Cut that shit out early. I got to the point where I was like, yo, you want me to get it right or? No, go ahead.
No, you need to get it right or get it right because there's no wrong.
Yeah.
There's no
Not an
wrong
option.
in
Even
there.
though I can't
No,
read
it's
your
not an
mind,
option.
and that's the first time, like, oh yeah, shit. I mean, like, you gotta stop that. You gotta be mad, and that's it. Because I mean, I'm not gonna fake it like I know exactly what you're thinking.
Like what I hate though is that, for example, I took my kid to the doctor's for the first time by myself not too long ago. And the doctor knows that I'm not with his mom. And he's like, so why didn't his mom show up to the meeting? Like, you only see him every other weekend and sometimes during the week. Like, how are you going to know what's going on in your kid's life? And it's like, do you not think that I communicate with his mother or his grandmother or anything like
Hey,
that?
fuck
Like,
off. You don't know my story, man. Ask me a question or something first.
Yeah, you know what's funny? My wife was actually picking up the kids from daycare one time because I wasn't able to, and one of the teachers thought that she was the nanny.
Oh God.
Yeah. So and it's like I'm here to pick up my kids. You don't know me, and and then eventually the other teachers kind of corrected her, and then she felt so embarrassed after. That's right, she should be, but you know, but and that's the thing about communication. If no like if no one knows who is the father, who is the mother, then how can anybody else work with you, especially when it comes to doctors or teachers or anything in between? You know what I mean?
Might be an emergency comes up and you gotta step up and be like, "Hey, I'm the dad," and if no one knows, you're not getting that kid. Like you're not gonna go and see your kid in an emergency if like you don't have proof that this is my kid and I have custody. You're screwed. A mother would be like, "Oh, that's my kid, no questions asked." But a father, they'd be like, "Oh, so why don't we know you? Something you did that has the causing this separation." And I've seen it, and it's just like, no, I can't. You gotta prove because it's dangerous. What if you had the kid and she has the kid most of the time, you have him that one time, and then it's like some shit happens, and it's like, oh crap, do I have his ID? Do I have his health card? Do I have this? Do I have that? Like,
is he in the files? You know? Yeah.
I got the dirtiest look picking my kid up from the bus stop the other day. Usually it's his nan that picks him up from the bus stop. And I finished work early. So I was like, for a little surprise, I'll go pick him up from the bus stop. The bus driver literally was not going to let him off the bus.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can't be too mad about that.
You know
like,
what I find?
You're doing the right thing, but it's like, I wish you knew me, man. Like this is messed up, but you're doing your job properly.
I was just sitting there, I was like, please, buddy, do not play one of these games where you're like, I don't know that guy.
You know what's worse? What's worse?
I got a
My son looked like his mother. So
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
He does. He does a whole lot. Yeah.
All right. So what's the one thing that you guys learned from being fathers that you applied to your life and kind of like improved your life?
Patience.
That is a big one.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just not everything like outside of the home matters. Like if I'm stressed out about work, once I'm home, doesn't necessarily matter. I can let that go because if I bring that home, it's gonna affect everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like my son wants to play and he's all happy, and then I'm pissed off about work. That's gonna affect our time, and that was very valuable time. So I had to learn to let certain stuff go. Because I'd come home and like vent to my wife and be like, "Oh fuck, this guy, the supervisor, this, blah 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 blah." And when it was just her, I appreciated that. I was like, "Thank you for letting me let this out." Like my kid is looking at me like, "Can we play now?" Like,
yeah.
Why are you so mad?
Yeah.
So I had to learn to let certain things that just was outside of the home that didn't affect it to let it go. That and patience.
Yeah. Because I feel like the type of energy that you portray at home, they're gonna pick up.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. So. And like I feel like that's part of like sometimes I get frustrated sometimes and most of the time it's work related. Mm-hmm. And like it's like there and the longer you hang on to it, the worse it's going to be. So the best thing to do is just like you said, let it go. Take a moment, get a breather, just give yourself some time to unwind, and then kind of be like, okay, I'm home. I'm with my wife or my significant other and my kids, and then let's be in daddy mode,
Yeah.
Just enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right, I had to do it because I'm really corny, and that's just who I am.
Oh
but
boy,
we got to do a dad joke at least one person.
You should have prepped me for this, man. I would have found one.
Oh,
because they got one in the mind.
Oh shit. I ain't got no dad jokes. Got me on the spot here.
I think I got one. What do you call a fish that plays the guitar? A tuna fish.
I'm taking that one. I'm gonna use it tonight.
My kid told me one.
I like it.
What do you get when you cross a vampire and a snowman?
Oh.
Frostbite.
Frostbite.
I feel like I've heard this one before.
Oh man.
Sorry, man. I ain't got no dad jokes on the spot. I really wish I did.
Addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
Beautiful.
And that's what it's all about, my friend.
You know it's a good dad joke when the dads are all laughing.
Dad's laughing about it.
My son looks at me now like, oh, wow, you're lame. Like, I can't believe you tried that. I'm like, you can give me a smile, man. Give me a sarcastic laugh at least. Nothing.
Oh, even just a little smirk.
Like, dude, just fake it.
Something,
It's
right?
like, just fake it. Women do
Don't
it all the
ask for
time.
much. Give me a laugh. Pretend I'm still that funny guy that used to laugh at anything I did. Like I remember my son would laugh at poop, crack up, just say poop, and he would go into like a belly roll laugh. But now it's just like nothing makes him laugh. He's just so. If it ain't Instagram, then it's nothing really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy what I have with him right now. Right now, I'm the funniest guy.
Funniest, the strongest. My son's like, oh, I'm almost as tall as you. That's scary.
Yeah.
My son is pushing 6 foot, 12-year-old, 6 feet.
Jeez.
Wow.
He's solid.
Well, here's the thing. Doesn't matter how big your son gets.
Exactly.
Like, he will never challenge you. He will never challenge you.
I'm like, buddy, you could be taller than me, but I'm gonna chop you in them knees.
You know, I was about 25, and I was like, I'm about to challenge my dad, and I said something, and then he shows me his fist, and it's like twice the size of mine. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna step back and just my dad was like 65 at the time, and I'm like, I don't like, he may be old, but I'm sure he can whack me something good, right? So
old man strength is something,
OG,
isn't it?
bro. He's an OG.
yeah.
I keep telling my son, old man strength is a real thing, and he doesn't believe me. I'm like, as you get older, buddy, just life experiences make you stronger. Like, you might be bigger than me, but don't think you can push me around. Like, you still struggle to open up certain jars. I'm like, come here, that's easy. And I love to show him, they're like, yo, you might be young and I might be getting old, but you are not stronger than me, homie. Nope. And I'm going to hold on to that as long as I can.
Yeah.
You have to, yeah.
Because they're going to try to bring you down. Oh, man.
Freudism at its finest, man. I love kids. Kids are the best.
Yeah, they are. They make life more enjoyable.
Well, what I find interesting, and it's just because like I have insight with the people on here. Like Tim, when I met you, you already had your son, so he was younger, like a lot younger. But like Dave, I knew since elementary school, Aiden I met in high school. So seeing everybody as a dad now versus where I started is
One tension.
me and Dave used to go out like and get loaded. I've seen Dave like pass, and now I see Dave like holding bottles.
Yeah.
Stars. It's just.
I'm just saying it's cheaper and safer to drink at home.
True.
Man.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right now.
I've said the same thing, yo. Like, I'm gonna sit right here on the couch. If I go out, potential trouble, forget it.
Yeah. There's too many unknown factors outside of my apartment, so it's better just to chill.
Compare the difference from the married ones and the not married ones. Like, let's take our asses at home. We can't go nowhere.
Just watch
Maybe in the backyard.
At least my wife knows where I am.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Like, even right now, I'm thinking like, I gotta let my wife know that I'm on this phone call because I should have been home by now. She's gonna be like, oh, so what took you so long? Oh yeah, this Trayvon thing, because she knows who you are, and I have to explain this whole thing to her.
Don't worry, it's recorded.
Exactly. Thank you.
Don't be mad at me.
So if she hits you up, you know why.
I got you. Don't worry.
Good stuff.
Man. That being said, let's call it a day. I want everybody
All right, man.
and have a drink and just chill for like
Yeah.
5.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
Good one, man. You guys take it
Yeah.
easy.
Again. All right. Take it
Till
easy.
the next one.
Later.
Yes. Look forward to it.
See ya.